Philip to Evelyn, 22 July 1944. Dearest Chippy, not much to say today. There was no mail and hardly anything worth writing about. Last night I attended the reopening of the renovated Thunderbolt Theater. The picture, as I told you yesterday, was For Whom the Bell Tolls. I didn't enjoy it quite as much the second time. The element of suspense was gone because I knew the plot. However, it would have been worth my while if only to see Maria again. The theater is a very great improvement over the previous one. The screen is large and new and white, and the two new 35mm projectors make it unnecessary to stop the film to change reels. I'm looking forward to many pleasant evenings there, but not too many, I hope. I turned in very early, about 9:30, and had a good night's sleep. My work for this month is pretty well cleaned up until the 28th, when I have to start on the company history. This evening I walked down to the snack bar and had some sandwiches and coffee, and then settled down in the lounge to listen to the radio and read some old papers that were lying about. Today's Stars and Stripes didn't arrive for some reason. The news on the radio brought me up to date. Later, there was a speaker, an elderly gentleman from Massachusetts, who talked for an hour and a half about post-war prospects in employment. His talk was very general, though, covering a variety of subjects, and was most interesting. I learned a good deal, asked a few questions, and revised a few of my concepts and opinions. A most profitable evening. Which once more brings me right up to the minute, sweet. I think of you constantly and wish most fervently that I will soon be free to return to you in the pumpkin and all my loved ones at home. Good night, my darling. I love you more and more each day. My love to all. Ever your Phil. Philip to Evelyn, second letter dated July 22nd, 1944. Dearest Evie, no mail today for the third day in a row, and I'm back to double spacing as a result. There is so little to report that I have to think and think until I get an idea as to what to write about. I'll tell you what I did today. That's always good for a few lines. Then I'll say a few words about the weather, etc., and by that time, I may have thought of something else. To begin with, I relieved the CQ at 6:30. It was a gray, cold morning, and the gloomy appearance of the sky did my spirits no good. I was entirely caught up with my work, and I spent the morning reading a magazine. Directly after lunch, there was a dental inspection. I have a couple of new cavities and have to make an appointment at the dispensary to have them filled. Which reminds me to ask you, dear, when you last visited the dentist, and isn't it about time you were making an appointment to have your teeth looked at? Then I hopped on a bike and rode down to the finance office, where I transcribed the payroll. This killed the afternoon. I had intended to go into town this evening with Klein, but the lunkhead got himself grounded for speeding and isn't driving the Officers' Liberty Run bus anymore. I could have gone in on the enlisted men's Liberty Run, but I don't enjoy it because it's uncomfortable riding, usually crowded, and some of the guys drink too much and get sick all over the place and on anyone who is unlucky enough to be in the vicinity. Not relishing the prospect, I went along with Klein to the snack bar. Then we stuck around the lounge a while Klein wrote a few letters and I read Yank and listened to the radio. When it came time, we went around to the movie where Dixie was playing. I had already seen it, but since it was a musical and because I'm caught up on my correspondence for a change, I thought I'd kill the evening that way. At that, I found it far from boring. I hit the sack at exactly 11 o'clock, and I'll give you just one guess, darling, as to what I was thinking about at that particular time. If you are wondering when I found time to type this suite, permit me to enlighten you. I am typing this the morning after. This morning, for want of something better to do, I decided to compile a few statistics on the percentage of married men in the company, those with children, etc. This afternoon, if there is still no mail, I think I'll start drawing the plans for that duplex apartment. Remember? I'm hoping, though, that there will be some mail. Just enough space left, honey, to remind you that I love you very much. Kiss the pumpkin for me and give my love to all. I am your ever-loving Phil.